Welcome to the What Does Science Say channel. We are diving deep today into, well, something really powerful, but often totally misunderstood. That silent language of attraction.
Right.
We're skipping the words entirely, focusing just on the nonverbal stuff,
Yeah.
body language. Specifically, what men do that either pulls people in or, pushes them away instantly.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area. And the sources we looked at, they don't just give vague advice like, oh, just be confident. No, they actually point to really specific, simple, physical things, actions, postures that they describe as highly effective, even superb, one source said, for creating that initial spark.
A toolkit almost.
Exactly, a toolkit of these tiny signals you can actually practice.
Okay, so our mission here is pretty clear then. Pull together these specific behaviors and really understand the why behind them. What's the psychology? We want to cut through the usual fuzziness and give you, our listeners, some precise actions that project, well, stability and control, right?
Yeah.
Right. And, before we jump into the list itself, the research highlights something quite interesting, a key difference. Women apparently tend to be more, the sources say, professional at using body language for attraction.
Professional. How so?
Well, things like naturally drawing attention to curves, maybe specific ways of touching their hair, or postures that make them seem, narrower or more delicate.
Ah, okay. So men can't just copy that. It wouldn't work.
Not at all. For men, the attractive body language is fundamentally different. It's less about delicacy and much more about projecting this sort of anchored, steady energy.
Urgent, I like that.
Precisely. And when you synthesize what all these male cues communicate, it really boils down to projecting strength, power, and this is crucial, security. And that projection comes through self-possession, through controlled, non-chaotic movement.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with one that honestly seems a bit counterintuitive at first glance. It can seem almost vain. But the sources frame it very differently. This simple act of self-grooming.
Mm-hmm. It's small, it's quiet, but apparently highly attention-grabbing. We're talking about that moment when a man very calmly maybe adjusts a shirt sleeve,
Right.
or smooths his collar, or checks and adjusts his watch band. Little things.
Okay, I get the action.
Mhm.
But what's the message? Why is focusing on yourself like that powerful?
Well, the sources really stress the how. It absolutely must be done in supreme calmness and with full attention just on yourself for that moment. It's not some hurried, nervous fiddling.
Ah,
It's a moment of stillness, almost like he's centering himself.
yeah.
And that visually communicates self-respect, preparedness.
So it tells an observer, I'm grounded, I care about how I present myself, and I'm not easily flustered by what's going on around me.
Exactly. It's not vanity. It's showing inner control. You see it in movies all the time, right? The hero takes that composed moment.
Yeah, or the groom right before walking down the aisle. The little cuff adjustment.
Precisely. The calmness in that self-attention signals power. Okay, so let's scale that up. From that tiny action to overall physical presence, the next big one is occupying space.
Meaning, like, actively not shrinking yourself down,
Hmm.
which lots of people do without thinking when they feel watched.
Correct. It's a total opposite of being all tucked in. The posture is actually quite simple. Shoulders straight, maybe rolled back slightly, open. Arms and legs should be relaxed, open, not crossed tightly or pulling everything in.
Okay, so if you're sitting at a table, say in a cafe,
Right.
you wouldn't be hunched over your coffee, arms pulled in. You'd maybe let your hands rest openly on the table or on the arms of the chair.
Yes, exactly. Sitting loose and free, as one source put it.
And the impact.
It's immediate, taking up space, allowing your body to relax and expand a bit. It just conveys power and strength. It's like an unconscious signal saying, I'm comfortable here. I belong here. I'm not poised to defend myself or run.
Okay, so that first section really laid the groundwork: control, presence. Now, section 2 seems to focus more on the subtle stuff, fleeting signals that flash confidence.
Yes, and we need to be really precise with this next one. Momentary self-touch.
Okay, pause right there,
Yeah.
because that sounds dangerously close to fidgeting, and we know fidgeting is usually a turnoff.
That is the absolute crucial nuance. This is not about nervous, excessive movement, which definitely signals anxiety. This is a fleeting, almost purposeful, and apparently attractive touch, like briefly running a hand through your own hair just for a second,
Okay.
or maybe briefly touching your own arm, or lightly adjusting your clothing and then stopping. The stop is key.
So the difference is duration and intent. The positive kind is brief, centered, shows self-possession, like a quick check-in with yourself.
Uh-huh.
Whereas fidgeting is just jittery, nonstop, signals inner chaos.
You got it. When it's controlled and momentary, it suggests you're deeply comfortable in your own skin. Your body is a safe, known space. That's a really strong signal of like internal integration.
Right. Okay, moving to expression. The controlled smile. This isn't a big toothy grin,
No.
which signals maybe openness or pure joy, and it's definitely not a smirk. Right.
Definitely not. The research calls it a crescent or side smile. It's sort of a half smile, comes mainly from the corner of the lip, often without even showing teeth. And what's fascinating is why it works. It suggests mastery and composure.
Why would hiding some of your expression be attractive? Seems counterintuitive again.
Because it reads as strong, subtle. It reflects inner firmness. Think of it less like expressing pure joy and more like projecting
Yeah.
mastery. It's like the look of someone who gets the joke, who feels good inside, but doesn't need to shout about it. It suggests strength because you don't need everyone else to validate your good mood.
It makes sense. And it ties perfectly into the next cue, which is invisible, really, until it happens or doesn't happen. The power of silence. Specifically, that pause before you respond.
Oh, yeah. The research highlights this as huge, a really powerful control signal. If someone asks you something or makes a comment, the guy who rushes to fill the silence seems reactive, maybe even flustered.
A pause before answering. I could see someone worrying. That just makes them look slow or like they weren't listening. What's the magic there, according to the sources?
The magic apparently is that the pause shows you're thinking, deliberating, processing, and staying in control of your response. It tells the other person, I'm not easily rattled. I'm choosing my words, not just blurting out the first thing that comes to mind, especially not a bad reaction. It's pure discipline shown through time.
Okay. So the person who uses silence, or that measured pause, shows they can handle complexity, which brings us neatly to the ultimate attractor, the big theme: calmness and security.
That's cue number 6, a universal lack of haste.
And this applies everywhere, right? Walking, standing up, sitting down.
Everything, even tiny actions like reaching across a table for a glass of water.
Slow it down.
Yes. Haste, rushing, any kind of frantic movement, it's detrimental. It signals inner chaos, maybe that you can't cope. Calmness, slowness, they signal deep internal peace. Real self-confidence.
Yeah, think about it when you see someone frantically digging for their keys, dropping things. How does it make you feel?
Anxious.
Exactly. So the sources argue that being unhurried eliminates that secondhand feeling of chaos for the observer.
Precisely. And this really is the central idea, the thesis. All these behaviors we've talked about, the calmness, the control shown in silence, the relaxed power, they translate directly into a woman feeling secure and safe.
That feeling is paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah,
And often totally subconscious.
absolutely. A
Yeah.
man who seems in control of his own inner state, his nerves, his movements, he's perceived as someone who can offer stability, reliability. We're kind of wired to find that attractive, aren't we?
Seems that way. Deeply wired.
Okay, so we've got the positive toolkit,
Yeah.
but we absolutely need to flip this coin and talk about the turnoffs. Knowing what not to do is just as important, maybe more so. Things that just instantly switch off that attraction.
Definitely. These behaviors basically scream nervousness, inner turmoil, or weakness. Let's start with avoidance number 1. Excessive hand and limb movement. Fidgeting, basically.
We touched on this with the self-touch thing, but let's be blunt. Why is excessive movement so bad?
Well, it's seen as a sign of a nervous system that's chaotic, out of whack. Now, some natural gesturing when you talk is fine, it's normal, but constant pointless movement, tapping fingers, bouncing legs, playing with a pen, it just kills the appeal because it suggests chronic anxiety.
And it makes the observer feel anxious too.
Exactly. It totally undermines that feeling of security we just established is so key. If your body's always buzzing, you seem ungrounded, unreliable.
Okay, makes sense. Avoidance number 2 is purely visual, but yeah, really potent. Hunching or slouching.
Posture is maybe the most obvious clue to your inner state. If you're curved over, hunched, you physically look smaller, weaker. The research is really clear on this. Shoulders need to be flat, back, and up. Open.
Yeah, that slumped posture just reads as weakness, maybe even vulnerability, which is the exact opposite of the powerful presence we were talking about earlier.
Total opposite. And finally, avoidance number 3, which is the direct counterpoint to occupying space. Self-compacting.
This isn't just bad posture, but actively making yourself smaller, like you're trying to hide.
That's exactly it. Behaviors like jamming your hands deep in your pockets and pulling your shoulders in, or crossing your legs really tightly, maybe ankles locked, or even putting hands across your stomach almost protectively.
Right, covering up.
When a man compacts himself like that, he's subconsciously signaling, I want to be smaller, or I feel threatened, or maybe even I want to escape.
And since we know that open, relaxed posture signals confidence and strength.
Compacting yourself sends the opposite signal. Weakness, lack of power. It just kills that essential sense of security for the observer. It basically says, I'm uncomfortable, maybe even intimidated. So relaxation, open posture, absolutely crucial to avoid this.
Okay, let's try and wrap this core lesson up one last time for everyone listening. The essential takeaway here seems to be that intentional, controlled relaxation, whether it's that quiet moment, adjusting a cuff, choosing a pause over a rushed word, or just, taking up your space comfortably, that's the single most powerful communication tool. And the best advice seems to be, don't just know this stuff, practice it. Practice until it feels natural, like a habit.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought to leave people with. If these subtle cues of inner control and confidence are so powerfully attractive, acting like these psychological magnets because they tap into that deep need for security, well, what does that suggest about how our nonverbal presentation affects our success in any setting, professional, social, whatever, beyond just attraction? The power of projecting inner peace probably extends way beyond first impressions. It likely influences how people see your reliability, your authority all the time. Something to think about as you, watch the world around you.
Thank you for being with us until the end of this video. Please be sure to subscribe to the What Does Science Say channel and give us energy with your likes and comments. Share your comments with us and send the video to your loved ones so that others can also use it.